I recently came across a study that completely shifted the way I think about sexual positions and female pleasure. The research explored which positions are most likely to help women reach climax, and honestly, some of the results caught me off guard. After reading it, I decided to do something a bit unconventional. I invited 7 of my closest friends over for wine, and we had one of those real, open conversations about sex that only happen when women feel safe and comfortable. I wanted to see if their personal experiences lined up with what the study was showing, and surprisingly, they did, almost exactly. So today, I want to share with you what science says about the positions that help women climax, what my friends confirmed from their own experiences, and the one position that shocked everyone, including me. It's actually my favorite, and I'll explain why. The first position that both the research and my friends agreed on as highly effective is standard missionary, but with a twist: a pillow under her hips. When I mentioned this during our conversation, every single friend nodded immediately. Sarah, who's been married for 15 years, shared that this is her go-to when she really wants to finish. She explained why it works so well. Elevating the hips changes the angle to create what's called dual stimulation, hitting exactly the spots that make climax possible. Let me break down what that really means. First, there's the emotional side of things. Being face-to-face, looking into each other's eyes, creates a deep emotional connection. For women, that connection amplifies physical pleasure. It's not just about the mechanics. Feeling desired, seen, and wanted intensifies everything. But there's also a very practical scientific element here. The study pointed out that when the man is on top and moves with a forward and back grinding motion, not just simple in and out thrusts, he's stimulating her clitoris at the same time as penetration. This combination, often called dual stimulation, is huge because clitoral stimulation is how most women reach climax, and combining it with penetration multiplies the effect. The pillow under her hips makes a big difference. It tilts the pelvis just enough so that your pubic bone presses against her clitoral area during that grinding motion. Jessica, one of my friends who's very straightforward about these things, explained it perfectly. Most men think climax is about thrusting harder or deeper, but it's really about consistent pressure and friction against her clitoris. One friend even said, when a man gets that grinding motion right, stays deep, and rocks his hips forward, that's when she can actually finish. Without it, it's just penetration, which feels good, but it won't get her there. So, when you're in this first position, remember, it's not about going faster or deeper. It's about consistent contact and pressure against her clitoral area while you're inside her. That's the combination the research showed gives the most reliable results. The second position that both the study and my friends confirmed is when she's on top, leaning forward. When I brought this up, one friend laughed and said, "This is the only position where she truly controls what she needs." That really nails it. She faces you, leans toward you, and has that face-to-face connection again. What makes it so effective is that she can control the angle, depth, and clitoral stimulation perfectly, grinding against your pubic bone in exactly the way that feels right. She can adjust pressure, speed, and rhythm to match her body, which makes climax much more attainable. Now, I know some men feel like they're doing nothing in this position, but there's a trick that changes everything. Grab her hips and guide her movements, pulling her down toward you with intention. One friend said this completely transforms the experience. It shows engagement, desire, and active participation, even when she's technically in control. That take charge energy, even when she's dominant, hits something primal. Women want to feel desired and led. Leaning forward, she creates that same dual stimulation, clitoral contact plus penetration, adjusted perfectly for her anatomy, which varies from woman to woman. You can also enhance the connection with touch, her breasts, sides, or a kiss, keeping the emotional intensity alive. My friends agreed that while these two positions reliably lead to climax, variety matters. Repeating the same positions can get predictable, so mixing things up keeps desire and excitement high. Start with something intense, then transition into one of these positions to finish strong. But before I share the position that shocked everyone in the study, there's one crucial element to understand: blood flow. Without proper circulation to the genitals, arousal and climax become much harder, no matter the position. Both men and women rely on erectile tissue that needs to fill with blood to maximize pleasure and sensation. For women, proper blood flow to the clitoris and vaginal tissue creates the engorgement that heightens sensitivity. When blood flow is limited, whether due to stress, poor cardiovascular health, or decreasing nitric oxide levels as we age, it becomes harder to get fully aroused and reach climax. Nitric oxide acts as a vasodilator, relaxing and widening blood vessels so blood can flow more freely. Better circulation to the genitals means stronger sensations, heightened sensitivity, and more intense experiences for both men and women. So while technique and positions are important, don't underestimate cardiovascular health, stress management, and circulation in enhancing sexual pleasure. Now, here's the part that really surprised me during my conversation with friends. The study examined which position was least likely to result in female climax. And I was shocked because it's actually my favorite. Are you ready? It's doggy style. According to the research, this position had the lowest rate of women reaching orgasm. When I mentioned this to my friends, 6 out of 7 immediately agreed. It feels intense, passionate, exciting, but rarely leads to finishing. Yet, despite this, I love it. Not because of guaranteed climax, but because of the connection, energy, and excitement it brings. The study highlighted 2 main reasons why women are less likely to climax in this position. First, there's no face-to-face connection. She can't see your eyes, your expressions, or your body, and that emotional connection amplifies pleasure. Second, and more importantly, her clitoris isn't naturally stimulated in this position, which is critical since most women need clitoral contact to reach orgasm. When it comes to reaching climax, dual stimulation, clitoral and internal, is what consistently works for most women. In doggy style, the clitoris isn't naturally stimulated unless you reach around manually, which explains why fewer women finish in this position. But here's the important part I shared with my friends and what I want you to understand. Just because a position doesn't lead to climax doesn't mean it isn't deeply enjoyable. For me, doggy style delivers something different. It's primal, raw, intense, and full of passion. There's a psychological element to it that I love, even knowing it probably won't get me to finish. This is the key takeaway. Sex isn't just about the orgasm. It's about the entire experience, the sensations, the emotional connection, the variety. Some positions bring passion, others reliably lead to climax, and knowing the difference lets you use them strategically. Don't skip doggy style just because the study says women are less likely to climax from it. Use it for its intensity, energy, and primal excitement, then transition into a position like missionary with a pillow or woman on top leaning forward to help her finish. One of my friends even said her partner does exactly this, starting with something exciting to build passion, then moving into the science-backed positions as she gets closer. Here's the bottom line. The 2 positions most likely to help her climax are missionary with a pillow under her hips and woman on top leaning forward. Both give clitoral stimulation and face-to-face connection. Doggy style is least likely to result in orgasm because it lacks both, but it still brings intensity and variety that keep things exciting. Use the reliable positions as your foundation, mix in other positions for excitement, and understand what each one offers. Start with passion, build connection, and finish with dual stimulation. Next time you're intimate, notice the difference when you focus on clitoral contact and emotional connection. Understanding what really works will make you a more confident, attentive, and connected partner. When it comes to female pleasure, understanding what actually works is about more than just guessing or trying random positions. There's both a physiological and emotional side to it. Physically, clitoral stimulation is almost always the key because that's how the majority of women reach climax. Internal penetration alone rarely does the job, which is why positions that combine both, like missionary with a pillow under the hips or woman on top leaning forward, are so effective. They create the perfect alignment for dual stimulation while also allowing for that face-to-face connection, which emotionally heightens pleasure. Emotion plays a huge role. When a woman feels seen, desired, and connected to her partner, sensations are amplified. It's not just about what's happening physically. It's about feeling safe, wanted, and emotionally involved, which makes the physical side even more intense. But beyond physiology, there's the importance of variety and intentionality in sexual experiences. Repeating the same position over and over might work in theory, but it can become predictable and less exciting. Mixing positions intentionally can create a balance between intensity, passion, and reliable pleasure. Some positions are about connection and control, others about primal energy and raw sensation, and understanding the purpose of each lets you guide the experience without leaving it to chance. Doggy style, for example, is less likely to lead to climax, but it provides a sense of intensity and excitement that can make the overall experience